What's up, everybody? Tindo. You guys know what I've been doing. Same thing I'm always doing. Today, I went thrift shopping. So normally my thrift haul videos are pretty straightforward. I take a camera with me, I go thrift shopping, I put it all together, I put it up for you guys to watch. Well, today I'm not going to do exactly that because I didn't go to a bunch of normal thrift stores today. Today I went to the Goodwill BINS. Now here's the thing. If you already know what the Goodwill BINS is because you either have seen a bunch of my videos or if you're already super into thrifting yourself and you know about them, you're probably fine to just fast forward ahead and skip to the part where I'm just waving video games around. Because that's probably what most of you are here for, if you made it to this video. But if you don't know anything about the Goodwill BINS, or if you just want to hear me talk about it anyways, then stick around. Because I'm going to talk about the Goodwill BINS for a few minutes, and then I'll show you guys what I got today from my trip to Goodwill BINS. Okay, I think the best way to explain the Goodwill BINS is to explain it this way. There's just no way that a Goodwill can get rid of everything that it gets donated to it, period. So what happens when you have 100 Goodwills across the state and they all have to get rid of stuff once it's either not sold or they have overstock? Well, they've got to send it somewhere, right? That's the case with almost any kind of store. Everyone has to send the leftover stuff somewhere, right? Well, what Goodwill did was turn their warehouses where they send leftover and overstock into another Goodwill store all on its own. And that's what a Goodwill BINS is. So you walk into a Goodwill BINS and you will find a place where just tons and tons of crap is wheeled out in these giant tables and these giant bins, and people in these stores will dig through that stuff, and it's often just tons of it's ceiling fans and golf clubs, hockey sticks, it's all this stuff, and people are digging through it, taking what they want, they take it to the cash register, and most often at these Goodwill BINS, they pay for it by weight. And now this is where things get infinitely more complicated. That's kind of the simple part. The thing that gets complicated is that there are tons of these Goodwill BINS all over the United States, and all of them do things a little bit different. Here in Phoenix, the store is cut into 3 different sections, and each one of those sections closes down and opens up at certain times of the day, and it rotates. They call it rotations at the store. They close down the store for rotation. And so that's kind of complicated on its own, because if you run into one of these stores and don't know about this, you see this all the time at our store. People get yelled at for being on the wrong side of the store, and it's not harsh. You don't get kicked out. Everyone understands the rules are complicated if you've never been there before, but it's a thing. So what you got to do when you go to these Goodwill BINS is you've got to pay attention, because they all have different rules. And I've found myself getting in a little bit of trouble when I stopped, like, let's say I went to the BINS in Iowa, and they didn't close down parts of the store. They just closed down certain aisles, and it was not easy to tell that the aisle was closed. So of course I started digging in an aisle that's closed and no one's been allowed to dig in yet, and I get yelled at. It happens. So if you're ever going to go to these Goodwill BINS, just watch for a little while before you get into it, because there's going to be rules you're not going to know about. And so also in our store, the price is $1.39 per pound, and I've seen those prices all over the place. I've been to them in the last year or two where the price per pound is as low as like 75 cents. And almost every one of these Goodwill BINS that you'll go to all across the United States will also have different prices for different stuff. So I think for us it's 59 cents a pound for dishware, whereas it's $1.39 per pound for pretty much generally anything else. And then there's like books are 25 cents for paperback and 50 cents per hardback. And again, that stuff just changes as you go to different BINS around the United States. Another thing you've got to know about the BINS is that they're really tight on the use of cameras, which is why I'm sitting here today talking about the BINS and not showing you tons and tons of footage of me digging out all the cool stuff I found today. I've gotten in trouble for using a camera in there before I knew the rules. As soon as I knew the rules, I stopped using a camera in there because they will kick you out, and I am too fond of going to this dirty, dirty place to get kicked out. So no camera at the BINS. And the way you find this out is because every time you go to the BINS and new stuff is brought out, people run to it, they get a little bit crazy, tensions kind of get high, and people like to film this. You see this almost once a week there probably, if you go as regularly as I do. They will open up the back half of the store and everybody will run, and there'll be somebody that's just there for the first time filming it because they just saw it an hour ago when the other side opened up and people ran like crazy and they want to show their friends. And then that person gets yelled at by the manager, put your camera away, no cameras allowed. So I don't take my camera into the bins too much. Sometimes you'll see in some of my videos shots of me reaching down and grabbing something, but you don't want to go in there invading privacy and get kicked out of there. Maybe if you've paid close attention to a few of my videos, you might have noticed that I tend to crop people's faces out anyways. I don't like to show people. So you will see from time to time me kind of filming my hands at the bins. I do have footage of that often in my videos, but I don't chance taking my nicer cameras in there and getting kicked out because I'm too fond of the place. I don't want to get kicked out. I don't want to get banned. They do ban people for things like that from time to time. So there's that. There's another little note. Don't take your camera to the bins. Something else that's really interesting about the bins that you should know is that most of them you'll find all across the country, I've seen this, most of them will have tons and tons of regulars. And these are people that spend as much time at the bins as you spend at your job because it is their job. They buy and sell stuff there on eBay and another multitude of apps. And, you know, they're there, they're regulars. And I'm not exactly a traditional regular at mine because I definitely don't go every day. I go a lot of days. I've been going a lot of days long enough that a lot of the people there know me pretty well, which is going to segue nicely into what I got today because I have a handful of video games here that one of the regulars there brought me. It is a handful of DS, there's a 3DS and 2 Game Boy Advance games. Just run through them real quick. Crash Super Pack, dope. Kirby, Nightmare Dreamland, super stoked about that. I love Kirby games. DS Mario 64, Super Mario 64. Really happy to have that one too. I'll lay in bed and play that one on my 3DS. Ghost Recon for the 3DS. And Pokemon Ranger. I have no idea what that is. I'll have to look that up. If you know what it is, maybe let me know in the comments below. But he actually handed me those as soon as he came in the store. He's like, hey man, I was cleaning out my storage unit and listing some of the stuff that I haven't gotten to. And these games aren't really worth a ton. You can just take them, which is awesome. He's a really nice guy, a buddy of mine I've made there. Hopefully a lifelong friend, which I hate to say that just because he's given me a bunch of stuff, but he has given me a bunch of stuff that he just doesn't want to deal with. But we have a good time. We talk about stuff while we're there. It's nice when you're standing in this hot, dirty building for hours and hours to have someone to talk to. And that's definitely what he is. We've become good friends. So, oh yeah, I almost forgot. This would have been bad to forget about. I also got a regular Game Boy copy of Kirby's Dreamland 2, which is... I don't know how to tell you this. It's spooky sometimes how much stuff is just coincidentally found at the same time. Just after he handed me all these games, including Kirby's Nightmare Dreamland, he found this copy of Kirby's Dreamland 2 in a bin, and he looked it up, and once again, like those games, it was only worth $10. Not really worth his time. He tends to sell things that are a little bit more, you know, worth his time. So he's like, it's only worth a few bucks, you take it. Take it with the rest of those games. So, big shout out to that guy. He's awesome. But let's see, I got a lot of goodies I found today. Let's go through some of the non-gaming stuff. An Apple keyboard, wireless Apple keyboard. I already have one, but one of the keys is kind of loose and it's getting dirty and getting old, and this one is just fresh, nice and clean. So I'm just gonna switch out the one I have with it. Let's see what else. I got a Nintendo DS bag with Mario on it. Pretty happy about that because I have a rather large and growing collection of gaming related bags. And I don't have, I'm looking at them here, I don't have any with Mario on them. So that's the first. I've got a lot of Nintendo bags, but none with Mario. And I'm pretty happy about that. So add that to the collection. Dig in here a little more, see what else I got. I think one of the first things I found was this PS Vita case. Listen to that. It's a nice hard case. You open it up, it is form-fitted to the shape of a PS Vita. Screen protector here, and a few slots for games and memory cards. So that's very nice to have. I like tossing my game gear kind of haphazardly into my backpack. Not Sega Game Gear. My gaming gear, I guess I should say. I like tossing it in my backpack, and sometimes I wish I had nicer cases for things. So I'm definitely gonna hold on to that one. Let's see. What else did we get? Oh yeah, I remember finding this pretty early on. Let's dig in here a little more. Got a couple cables. This is just a regular USB cable. Charge my PS3 controllers with. I just needed an extra one. Happened to see one in the bins there. This is probably the second thing I found right after that PS Vita case. It is a Game Boy Advance to Gamecube adapter, which is awesome because I do have a Game Boy player for the GameCube, and I did not yet have one of these. So now I can play Game Boy games on my GameCube, on my TV, and use the Game Boy as a controller. So that's awesome. What else is in here? Oh yeah, this is pretty cool. I got a Atari Flashback 2, which is, I put it back at first, and then I ran back over there because I realized it said 2 on it. I had the first one, and now I have the second one. I have no idea what games are on here, but it came with both the controllers, and it's weightless. Even with these controllers in my hand right now, this weighs like 1.5 pounds, so I paid less than $2 for this Flashback. If you know what games are on here and you want to suggest any, please let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely try them out. It's dirty. I'm gonna have to clean that off. What else did I get? I've got a pretty small stack of games today. Yeah, that's it. I got a few games. My 37th copy of Wii Sports, but this is okay because I have a collection of boxed Wiis, and I'm sure one of them is probably missing it. It's completely there with the manual, so, you know, it costs a penny. It costs nothing. Next, a PSP UMD video of open season. Actually, that was another one that my buddy found and handed to me, knowing I would take it. And he also handed me this. I didn't find this on my own. It's just a manual for Super Smash Bros. I think my copy does have its manual, but I very often find copies of games like this without their manual, so I just put that in my box full of manuals and wait until it's needed. And then a copy of Wii MX vs. ATV Untamed. You know, nothing special. I didn't find any great banging games today. Here's an even less awesome game, NBA 2K13. I probably already have 3 copies of this, but the games are nothing there, so I pick them up. And then this is last and certainly least, Zumba Fitness for the Xbox 360. Some of you probably watch this and watch some of the silly stuff that I buy and wonder why I get it. Well, I don't buy this stuff unless it's really close to free. And I'm just trying to get a complete collection of all these Xbox 360 Connect games, and I'm actually not terribly far away because there's not a ton of them. And that was just one I didn't have. So that's everything that I picked up today at the Goodwill bins. I want to know in the comments below, what was your favorite thing that I got? What was the dumbest thing that you think that I got? Please comment below. And make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button so that you can get notifications when I post videos in the future, and then you can come back and hang out with me then. And until then, guys, peace out.
Hey, I'm a shark with a top hat, and I think you should subscribe. Go ahead, hit the button. I'll wait.